The night felt electric, filled with a mix of excitement and guilt. I slid into the car with him, my heart racing with both anticipation and fear. My husband, unaware of everything, waited at home, trusting me completely. I tried to tell myself it was just a harmless night, a brief escape from routine. Yet every laugh and every touch from this other man made my stomach churn with both thrill and unease. The rush of doing something forbidden clashed with a small, persistent voice of guilt inside me. I replayed excuses in my mind, assuring myself this would be a one-time mistake. Still, deep down, I knew life rarely lets mistakes pass without consequence. I couldn't yet see that this night of excitement would end in a revelation so jarring it would leave me shaking, forced to question everything I believed about my marriage. When we arrived at his apartment, the tension between us was undeniable. Dim lighting and soft music wrapped the space in an intimate haze, making clear thinking nearly impossible. I laughed nervously, trying to hide the guilt swirling inside me. Every glance and every word felt like another step deeper into a web I couldn't escape. Part of me pictured my husband at home, waiting, maybe pacing, maybe hoping I was safe. I tried not to think about him, but the thought kept returning. I felt reckless, yet there was a strange excitement in the risk. I believed I was in control of the night, unaware that the real reckoning was already waiting at home, ready to shatter the illusion of freedom I had created. The hours drifted by like a dream, laughter and drinks blending into a blur of careless joy. The man beside me seemed charming, relaxed, and perfectly attuned to my nervous energy. I kept telling myself it was just fun, nothing serious, only an escape. Still, part of me imagined my husband's face, wondering if he sensed something, if he felt my absence. Fear and exhilaration mixed into a dizzying rush. I checked the clock repeatedly, realizing time was slipping away. I justified my choices, made excuses, and pushed down the nagging sense that consequences were approaching. In truth, the reckoning had already begun. What I believed would remain a thrilling secret would soon become a moment that left me exposed, powerless, and stunned beyond anything I expected. Eventually, I chose to leave, my heart pounding with relief and lingering guilt. I convinced myself I could return to normal life, that no one would know, that my secret was secure. The drive home was silent, every passing street adding weight to my chest. My thoughts spun with excuses and reassurances. I told myself it was only one mistake, that it didn't define me, that my husband would never find out. Yet deep inside, I felt the gnawing truth. Freedom built on deception is fragile, and choices made in secrecy have a way of surfacing when least expected. I had no idea that the moment I stepped through my front door, the fragile world of lies I'd built would collapse. As I approached the house, something felt wrong. The silence was too heavy, almost unsettling. I unlocked the door, expecting everything to look normal, familiar, and safe. But the instant I stepped inside, I sensed that everything had changed. My husband sat calmly at the dining table, a faint, knowing smile on his face. An envelope rested neatly in front of him, waiting. My stomach dropped as panic and dread washed over me. How could he know? I stood frozen, every bit of confidence and justification I'd clung to dissolving in an instant. This was not what I had expected. The man I believed I could deceive already knew everything, silently in control, and the balance of power had shifted completely. Before I could say a word, he looked up, his eyes steady and piercing. "Welcome home," he said, his voice calm, almost unsettling in its composure. My chest tightened. I wanted to lie, to explain myself away, but the weight of his gaze held me frozen in place. Everything I thought I controlled was falling apart. My night of excitement, of thrills, of borrowed freedom meant nothing in the face of his quiet, unshakable awareness. I realized far too late that I had underestimated him completely. Every excuse, Every fleeting justification I had clung to collapsed under the strength of his presence. I was exposed, entirely and without escape, with no space left for denial. He motioned toward the envelope. My hands shook as I reached for it. Inside were photographs, clear and undeniable proof of my night. My face drained of color, my heart racing as I stared at the evidence of my betrayal laid out before me. But it wasn't only the images that broke me, it was the note that came with them. I knew this would happen. I needed to see how you'd handle it. Sit down. We need to talk. My thoughts spiraled. How could he have known? The calm authority behind his actions, the foresight, left me speechless. I had believed I was clever, convinced I could avoid discovery, but every illusion. I depended on shattered in a single moment. I understood then how powerless I was before him, completely at his mercy. He sat across from me, composed, steady, and unmoving. The silence between us was heavy, filled with meaning and unspoken judgment. I felt the full weight of my choices pressing down on me. Every lie I had told myself, every attempt to soften what I had done, suddenly meant nothing. Even in that overwhelming moment, I felt a strange blend of fear and awe. His strength, patience, and quiet authority made it clear he would face this on his own terms, leaving no room for excuses or denial. I had underestimated him entirely, and now I was forced to confront the full consequences of my recklessness. The conversation that followed was quiet, precise, and devastating. He spoke carefully, dissecting my decisions, my actions, and my betrayal. I listened in stunned silence, trapped by guilt and shock, feeling exposed with every word. The thrill I had chased earlier was gone, replaced by the harsh reality of accountability. My heart ached, not only from fear over what I had done, but from the realization of the strength and intelligence of the man in front of me. I saw clearly that the sense of control I had felt all night was an illusion. He had been fully aware, fully in control, and completely unshaken, leaving me humbled, terrified, and exposed in a way I had never experienced. By the end of the night, I was shaken, humiliated, and permanently changed. My reckless indulgence was insignificant compared to the quiet power and awareness of my husband. The thrill of betrayal had dissolved, replaced by an undeniable truth. Actions carry consequences. Secrets rarely stay hidden, and underestimating someone can destroy everything you believe you control. That night became a turning point, where deception met foresight and recklessness collided with accountability. I finally understood that my choices had brought me here, not only to exposure, but to a sobering realization of the man I had taken for granted. The night ended not in excitement, but under the heavy weight of truth, clarity, and consequences I never imagined.